All right, so this one is the transect setup.
Yep.
And whenever you're ready.
All right, let's walk through how to set up a transect. To start with, here's the list of materials that you'll need. You'll need your GPS unit, a compass, the meter tape, and a meter squared PVC plot, and some flags. So big picture, what we're going to do is we're going to find the transect point. Actually, can I start over? That's just like, it is funny how well, anyway. Okay. All right, so let's walk through how to set up the transect. Here's the overview of the materials that you'll need: your GPS unit, a compass, a meter tape, the meter squared PVC plot, and some flags. Big picture, here's kind of the checklist for how we're going to do this transect setup. Find the transect point, establish the transect, identify the plots, and then you'll be ready to get started on your first plot. Here's a cartoon of what the transect will look like with plots for 3 of the transects. So you'll see we have 3 green plots for vegetation-only sampling. 2 are the blue plots where we'll be doing plot-level soil sampling. And then 1 plot where there will be cover-specific soil sampling, bulk density, in addition to vegetation. There will be another 3 transects where there are just 2 soil sampling plots. Here again, the blue, and they'll be for plot level sampling. Okay, that was really confusing. Let me do that again.
Sure.
Just for the transects. And this is like, I think some of this is not, we might not even want to use it because it's so clear in the field.
Okay.
I'll do it as a recap. Okay. So to recap, we're going to have 3 transects where there's plot level soil sampling and cover specific soil sampling. So here you can see on the cartoon, we've got the green plots where only vegetation sampling will occur, the blue plots where there will be plot level soil sampling in addition to vegetation sampling, and then the last orange plot, there will be vegetation sampling and then bulk density and cover specific soil sampling. We'll also have 3 transects where there's, sorry, I'm like really, I think part of it is I want to do this one first. Okay. So in total, there will be 3 transects where there's vegetation sampling and plot level sampling. So here we have the green squares are for the vegetation only sampling plots, and the blue squares are the plots where there will be vegetation sampling and plot level soil sampling. There will be 3 other transects where we add a plot where there's cover-specific soil sampling. So you can see there's just that 1 plot at the 25-meter mark where now, in addition to vegetation sampling, we have bulk density and cover-specific soil sampling. So to recap, for your transect setup, you'll identify the point, lay out your transect, flag out the plots with specific color flags for the different types of sampling in each plot, and then you'll be ready to get started and sampling your plots. All right, now here's the protocol for vegetation sampling. The list of materials you'll need include the meter squared PVC quadrat, the cardboard percent cover reference squares, there'll be 3 of these, your data sheet, a camera or a phone camera, a small whiteboard, and dry erase marker. Big picture, here's our checklist for our vegetation sampling. At each plot, we'll conduct an assessment for species richness and then percent cover by cover type. So we'll be looking at bare ground, rhizomatous grass, bunch grass, forbs, shrubs, and litter. We'll also identify the dominant species in each plot and estimate the cover of that species. Okay, this is where we'll do species richness. in the field. For estimating percent cover, we'll be using cover classes. So here's a breakdown of the Daubenmeier cover classes we'll be using. Class 1 is 0 to 5% cover, Class 2, 5 to 25% cover, Class 3, 25 to 50%, Class 4, 50 to 75%, Class 5, 75 to 95%, and Class 6, 95 to 100%. So this is the percent cover of a particular functional group or cover type in the plot that we're looking at. So let's walk through some strategies for estimating cover, because this can be a bit tricky. So let's go through some examples. One strategy is to bundle, where you can imagine all examples of the cover type are clumped together, and then you can estimate cover of that bundle. Another strategy is to build up, so you can estimate the cover of each specific example of a cover type and then add them together. Another strategy is subtracting. So this is particularly helpful if cover is really dominant, or if a cover type is really dominant in the plot, where it might actually be easier to subtract the area that's not covered by that cover type. The other thing is we have these visual aids, so the reference squares that are cut to known percentages of 1%, 5%, and 10%. So these can be really helpful for training your eye and also for any of these strategies, bundling, building up, or subtracting. All right, I'm going to do that one more time as more of a recap, because I think we walked through it in the field, so that might be something.
Sure.
Okay, so let's recap the strategies for estimating cover. We can bundle, where we imagine all the examples of a cover type are clumped together in one part of the plot, and then estimate the cover of that bundle. Can also build up by estimating the cover of each example of that cover type and adding them together. Can subtract, where instead of building up, the opposite of building up, where we just subtract the areas that are not covered by a cover type. So this can be particularly useful if a cover type is really dominant in the plot. And then finally, using the visual aids, the reference squares, can help train our eyes and also assist in each of these strategies. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about like how it went in the field and like the best way to. So one strategy is to bundle, where you can imagine all the examples of a cover type move together into one part of the plot, and then estimating the cover of that bundle. Building up is where you can estimate the cover of each example of a cover type in the plot and then adding them together. Subtracting is when you can estimate the cover of the area that's not covered by a cover type and subtracting from 100. And then the visual aids are helpful references throughout for each of these strategies. All right, I think that'll be fine. All right, here's our protocol for soil sampling. The materials that you'll need for the carbon, let me try again. All right, here's our protocol for soil sampling. The list of materials you'll need include paper bags, rubber bands, a Sharpie, a small soil core, 2.5 centimeters diameter, a soil core pounder or slide hammer, labeling tape for the core, and then a gallon-size sealable bag. What we'll be doing with our soil sampling includes plot-level soil sampling, cover-specific soil sampling for 4 different cover types, which will occur in 3 out of the 6 transects, and then we'll be looking at bulk density in those same 3 out of the 6 transects. So of our 6 total transects, to recap, there will be 3 transects where there are 2 soil sampling plots where we just do plot level soil sampling. In the other 3 transects, there will be those 2 plot level soil sampling plots, and in addition, there will be a cover specific soil sampling plot where we also sample for bulk density. All right, let's walk through plot level soil sampling. High level, what we'll be doing here is taking cores, using the small core to 15 centimeters depth, and taking 5 cores in the plot and homogenizing them so that we get a representative plot level soil sample. Here's a cartoon of where those 5 soil samples will be taken from the plot.
Say here's a diagram where the 5.
Okay. Here's a diagram of where the 5 soil samples will be taken from the plot for the plot level sampling. So let's walk through now our cover-specific soil sampling. So similar to the plot level sampling, we'll be going to 15 centimeters depth with the small core. But in this case, what we'll be doing is we'll be taking cores from 3 examples of a cover type, and then combining those cores to get a representative sample for that cover type. The 4 cover types that we'll be focused on are bare ground, rhizomatous grass, bunch grass, and shrubs. I'm realizing we didn't have that in the field. I'll just talk through this a little bit. So the way this will work in the field is at the cover-specific soil sampling plot, you'll throw in 3 flags over your shoulder or not looking into the plot, and then identify the nearest examples of a cover type. So you'll do this one at a time. So for example, you'll look for the nearest example to each of those random flags of bare ground, and that will be the 3 places where you'll take your bare ground sample. You'll then repeat this for the remaining cover types. Was that clear? Should I do that again?
No, that sounded good.
Okay. All right, this is a hodgepodge, but I'll put it together. So here's here's the materials that we'll need for our bulk density sampling. You'll need a quart-sized plastic bag, a Sharpie, the larger soil core, the 5 centimeter diameter soil core, the slide hammer, labeling tape for the core. All right, so we'll slice that in for the bulk density part. All right, I think that's everything that we have.
Okay.
Let me just check and make sure. Add in blurb to wrap up and summarize at the end. Okay. So to recap, for the soil sampling, we'll be doing plot level soil sampling with the small cores, cover-specific soil sampling at 3 transects, and bulk density sampling at those same 3 transects. Okay, let me do it one more time. So to recap, we'll have, we'll have plot level soil sampling at all 6 of the transects, and then at half of the transects, there will also be cover-specific soil sampling for 4 cover types and bulk density sampling. Okay.
Good. Feeling good? Anything else?
It's not going to be fun to go through this, but I think content-wise, it's going to be there.
Okay.